How often do you find yourself without teammates for ranked? Well, fear not. If you want to solo queue through rank, here's some tips that should help your journey a little bit easier. And for those of you that stick around to the end, I'll tell you the number one reason why people stop solo queuing. Ranked has changed a lot since it originally launched in Season 2, and I've learned a lot solo queuing through it that I thought it was time to share my thought process behind solo queuing in general in ranked, as I see a lot of people give up too early or find it too difficult to continue through. Solo queuing in general is never easy. In fact, you need to plan on an entire other mindset, evaluating your own strengths and weaknesses so that you know what you can and cannot do on your own when you can't rely on a dedicated team of 2 trusted players. Solo queuing is about being the wolf, scrounging up whatever resources you can find and using the tools at your disposal to make the climb. It's about being the boss of your choices and making the call that's going to get you to the end game. I solo queue all the time in Diamond, Master, and Pred lobbies during my Twitch streams, so come check me out, link in the description. And if you want to learn more about what it takes to be a better player in Apex, be sure to like and subscribe. My name's zwordz, and today I'm going to talk to you about 5 different discussion points that should help you solo queue in Apex Legends rank. So first of all, understand that you are going to take losses, my friend. There will be games where you actually are going to lose RP. And the only thing you can do is to expect failure and work to reduce it as much as you can. So what do I mean by that? Well, essentially I mean you need to accept that you are going to lose. And you're going to lose RP at some point, so when you do die, there's no surprise or frustration about it, because playing this game while frustrated is a recipe for disaster. So when playing ranked by yourself, definitely work to stay cool-minded and keep your mindset in check. The real takeaway is that this is all about reinforcing and preparing yourself for a super strong mindset. It's one of the most important things you can do when solo queuing, and it's often overlooked. Remember, making mistakes helps you improve. It's not the easy matches that make you better, it's the hard ones. That being said, do me a favor and work together with your randoms. Typically, the first thing you want to do is figure out what type of team they are. You should be asking yourself if your team is aggressive, defensive, passive, or a mix of the latter. Simply knowing what type of teammates you have and figuring out where you fit best in that playstyle is going to help you identify what your role should be on your team. Make an effort to synergize and make your teammates' jobs that much easier in rotating to the next zone. You'd be surprised to see how often players on the same team get tunneled in their own fights, so focused on their own fights that they don't think about how they can even help their teammates. Think about all the times each of your teammates have fought their own 1v1s, and then think about all the times you've helped your teammates at a 2v1. Now, 1 is usually almost easier, right? The key is about finding those opportunities to work together. Now, if you're using a mic, that's one of the easier ways to know directly what your teammates want. But if you're not one to use game chat, you can always get an idea of what your teammates want to do based on positioning, playstyle, and their pings. It may be solo queue, but it's not exactly solo play. If you want to rank up solo, plan the strengths of your teammates to make your climb through ranked that much easier. This is why it's going to be important for you to prioritize your life. In other words, most of the time you need to put yourself first before putting your life at too much risk for the sake of elim. Because you got to remember, you're of no value to your team if you're dead. So try not to chase targets off away from your team too far, because sometimes you can get caught out of position by a full team which is going to take you out of the match. You also want to focus on staying alive rather than sacrificing your life for a kill. You don't always have to go for your teammate's banner. If it's too risky, don't go for it. Do not go for it. You got to put your life first, because putting your life first is what's going to get you and your team more points. Remember that kills is not everything in a BR. You need to make it to the end if you want to progress. It's about making it far, making it to the end. The next thing I want to bring up is that you should mix things up when you're not gaining points. Mix up something about the way you're playing if you're solo queuing, but still find yourself not gaining points. Nothing hurts more than sinking down a rabbit hole of negative RP without knowing why. I'd say it's best for you to mix things up, because without mixing them up and assessing what could be holding you back, you don't ever want to get too comfortable losing RP. You want to stand your best instincts and remind yourself to try different weapons, another legend, or make different decisions depending on what's been working for you versus what hasn't. I'll give you an example. I once spent about an hour without gaining or losing too much RP. It was just constant up and down with my RP. So after an hour, I switched things up and decided to change my legend, and the next game with that legend, I won. So remember to not only mix things up if you feel stuck or aren't gaining much RP, but don't always mix them up. The goal is to find what works for you and stick to it when you start a positive streak. Try different weapon combinations, try weapons that you like, maybe they work really well together, the goal is to find that best loadout. Because when you find that best loadout that works for you, stick to it. Stick to that loadout, my dude, and do not switch off it. It's going to get you far. If there are 2 guns that you find you usually do really well with together, whenever you have them, always try to find those guns every game. Use black markets, search buildings, search boxes, get that loadout. Do what you gotta do, because when you eventually do find that best weapon combination that works really well for you, almost in every engagement you have, you're going to be confident. You're going to be ready to go at that situation in however best works for your team. For me, that's a R99 and EVA 8 or PK. I know the R99 isn't the best gun or meta right now, but it just works for me. Even the bow check works for me. So even though they're off meta guns, I can make them work together, and it helps me climb. My aim was crazy the other day on stream. I was hitting bow shots. But anyway, really just use the guns that work for you. Another thing is you definitely don't want to get too comfortable in rank. Sometimes when you're out looting and just checking out buildings, trying to find your favorite guns, find those attachments, you're going to run into a team that is also looking for attachments. So you definitely want to always be cautious. Players are hiding in these 5-head niche spots. You know, you want to check your angles when you're entering buildings. You want to check hiding spots that you know about, because players in ranked get really creative, and they get even more creative the higher you go. So always keep your guard up. Don't let your guard drop for a second. You can get sniped. The state of the game can change in an instant. So do not get too comfortable. And if your team dies and you can't get their banners and you have absolutely no choice left, I'd say just rat away that game, my dude. That's right, just go find a nice good spot in each ring and carry your team to the end zone, essentially. Because the farther you survive, the more RP you're gonna get. So, and your teammates are gonna get it too, even though they're technically still not in the game. But as long as they're spectating, they'll still get the points. So be that cool solo player that your team has to spectate and hide away so they can get their points. And remember, don't deal with toxicity. You can mute your teammates and you can report them. It is usually the #1 reason why people stop solo queuing, so don't deal with it at all. And on an off note, I'm going to be playing in an Apex tournament from Exalved Esports very soon. So if you want more details on that and want to check out the tournament, be sure to follow me on Twitter so I can let you know more detail. Appreciate the support and hope this helps your solo queue experiences. Thanks so much for everything, and thank you for making it to the end of this video. You have a freaking kick awesome day, and you take it easy, and peace out. Didn't choose what? Oh my god. What is this, bro? Bro, this teammate, yo! Yo, okay. I might clip this myself, just to, you know, cause damn, what a hiding spot. What a 5-head hiding spot. I never